Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto markets. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss the market bounce over the last 24 hours. We're going to talk about OpenSea's C token getting a launch date and some more details. And we're going to talk about Solana's founder, Anatoly, getting into the Perp DEX market. GM, thank you for listening today. If you're listening on Spaces, give us a like, give us a comment. Let us know what you want us to talk about today. Give us a bookmark, give us a retweet, push us out in the algorithm. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, give us a chat, drop a comment. Let us know what you want us to buy, what you want us to sell, what you want us to talk about, what you want us to look at. We appreciate each and every one of you listening in every day. I'm joined today by my friend Signal. Sig, how you feeling today?
Feeling good, Ray. Feeling good. I was in Paris on the weekend, and I went to the Louvre. I went on Thursday, okay, before anybody starts to try and link me to a crime scene. Okay.
So you cased the joint on Thursday.
Sorry?
You cased the joint on Thursday.
Yes, exactly. I cased on Thursday because, when you're in Paris, you have to go to the Louvre. Like, I've been many times. I was like, yeah, let's go again. And then the news broke that somebody had broken in and stolen like all this amazing jewelry that had belonged to previous kings and queens. And you know what I found really funny about that story is there's the security at the Louvre is very, very high. And also in films, when you watch it, like if you've ever watched any film where they break into the Louvre, it's just like there's a whole like map and how we're going to break in and the sound of drilling so they don't hear the door knocking down, because it's so difficult to get in there. If you didn't see the story, the way the robbers got in is they just got a crane and they lifted the crane to the floor that they wanted to be on. Imagine one of those cranes where people are moving out of the 6th apartment. So you get one of those cranes to go to the top, you walk up the ladder, you smash the window, you walk in, you steal the jewels, and then you walk right back out again. It was that simple. I actually couldn't believe it. So went to touch grass on the weekend and then apparently just kind of got myself kind of in a robbery, sort of, a couple of days out. So that was my weekend, Ray. How was yours?
It was good. We shipped the daughter off to my mom's and we packed boxes. I think I packed 50 some boxes worth of stuff from our house. Like some of the last stuff that's left in our house unpacked is what you see behind me and my computers here. So it was
most valuable. The wrecked drinks. They're the ones. The wrecked drinks and the skateboards are most valuable. There's nothing
down here is like stuff from the walls. It's like sitting on the floor. Like everything's crazy right now.
There's nothing better than moving. And then you look at your life and as to how many boxes, and you're just like, all I want to do is take all this stuff and just dump it into the ocean and never see it again and just have an internet connection, Wi-Fi and a sofa and I'll be fine. That's what moving does to me. I don't know about you, Ray, but that's literally what moving does to me.
No, I'm the same way. I could get rid of everything in a heartbeat. My wife is more of a collector/hoarder, where she goes, well, we're going to need that one day. It's going to come in handy. And I just throw stuff out. She goes, oh, where did that go? And I was like, we didn't need that. And she's like, well, we need it now. Now we have to buy it again. So
there's nothing better than those people who I don't know if your wife's on these people who buy something, like a new Dyson something, whatever, and it comes in a big box, and then they keep the box for 2 years because you can't return it without the guarantee. Those people, they're part of the hoarder collection, and you end up taking those boxes to the new place when you just want to just burn them alive. Anyway, yeah. So it was a touching grass weekend. Happy that your move is going well and looking forward to what your new setup's going to be. When are we going to have the new setup?
I think the first podcast from the new setup will probably be the weekend after Halloween.
Day of the Dead. I like it.
Yep.
Should we get into the weather report?
Yeah, but first, we're going to let you know this show is brought to you in partnership with Metaplex. Big fans of what Metaplex has been doing. Metaplex has been powering almost everything on Solana since 2021. Tokens, NFTs, they are the protocol behind the protocols on Solana. No matter who wins in the Solana ecosystem, Metaplex wins. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about their Genesis TGE tool. This thing has had massive success so far. We've seen portals, go to .fund, Play Solana, DeFi Tuna, and others quickly sell out on this platform. 11-second sellout, 13-second sellout, 4-minute sellout. 3-minute sell. Lots of quick pre-sales done on this platform. And we're talking about this because we have a big pre-sale going live tomorrow. Also, our partners, also really excited about this one. Matrica is launching the Fun token on Genesis. This is going to power their DM Fun platform. This platform is going to centralize and unify communities for meme coins. This one is very cool. I've been testing this one out. It is a cool product. I'm excited to jump into this one, and I'm going to be participating or trying to participate in this this pre-sale because all Bodoggos holders got snapshotted and allow listed over the weekend. So if you're holding Bodoggos, you're going to be eligible to participate in this Metaplex Genesis DM Fun token pre-sale. This is going to be tomorrow. More news is going to be released on this today. Stay tuned in the Bodoggos Discord. If you're going to participate, we'll get you that information as soon as we can. Love working with Metaplex. Love working with Matrica. That being said, Sig, let's take it away with the weather report.
Yep, absolutely, Ray. Let's get into it. On Monday, Monday, October 20th, looking at that crypto roundup, the majors are up with Bitcoin just under 111K. Got ETH back over 4K. Good to see it. And Solana at 192, while Hype is just under $39. Over the past weekend, top 3 stories. Well, firstly, OpenSea CEO released details on the C token, including a Q1 2026 launch date. 50% of the supply will be allocated to the community, with more than half awarded via an initial claim. Both OGs and those who participated in the OpenSea rewards program will be meaningfully considered separately. Next up, news broke this morning that Solana founder Anatoly is working on a Perp DEX called Percolator. A code repository was found on his GitHub that describes a platform as a sharded perpetual exchange protocol for Solana. And then finally, Base and Coinbase experienced network degradation as AWS experienced outage this morning. Solana was quick to announce that all of their systems are operational despite the disruption. That is all for the weather report, folks. It is back to you in the studio.
Excellent weather report as always, Signal. Lots to unpack there. We got perps coming to Solana. Any interest in an Anatoly ran perp DEX? Easy.
Is there an airdrop?
There's always an airdrop.
If there's an airdrop, I'm more interested. Sig, you were talking about the Louvre robbery.
Mm-hmm.
You think they make an arrest by October 31st?
Well, you know what? They have actually recovered one of the pieces.
Because they dropped it on the exit. They dropped it on the exit, and they recovered a helmet that was used to break a window. I've done my research. I'm on top of it.
I like it. I like it. So basically, we have potential like DNA, in case the guy maybe had lice or something. I don't know what's going on in that helmet, but you never share a helmet. Do you ever share your helmets? That's like sharing a toothbrush. It's gross. So it means that you can link the helmet to an individual, and I feel like they've got like a trail. And plus, the police in Paris. I mean, my bike was stolen there once. They did nothing. So I feel like they're actually going to work on this case because now they've got something to do. So I'm going to do a yes that they're going to catch them before the 31st. This is high profile stuff here. It's not like my bike. My bike was low.
Like it's done by professionals. That's the thing. So it is only 11 days. The thing that caught me the most off guard with it was the fact that they robbed them during the daytime. This wasn't a break and enter overnight, worry about security. This was LARP as construction workers pull up in a truck that looked like you were doing work, enter through the roof, shatter the glass boxes during operating hours, walk out, hop on mopeds, and dip. In 7 minutes total from pull up to get out. I was like, damn.
Damn, that's sexy, huh? That's a sexy break-in. In 7 minutes, that they timed that.
Treasure looked like amateur hour. That's what it does. Like, that was impressive. Like, that's why I'm like, okay. But the fact of the matter is, dropping the crown, I wouldn't call that an amateur thing. Like, you're trying to get out of there quick. You're obviously not going to turn around for it. Leaving the helmet was the most amateur thing. So that's the thing where I'm like, okay, you've left evidence. Dropping the crown, like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, you're in a rush. It happens. You still stole a variety of other countless objects and artifacts. The other thing was they did not steal the most valuable item in that room, which was a 140 carat diamond. So it seems like this may have been very targeted as far as the items in which they took.
Interesting. I'm going to go with the yes, just because it's such a high profile case. I feel like the mayor, if not the president, is going to be all over this, that this needs to be recovered. And now that you've told me about the helmet, I'm not liking that. I'm not liking that because
That's my biggest concern is the helmet being found.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with a yes. Like, this is basically a national embarrassment, especially because the way they broke in, that anyone could have just like got a moving van and just walked in. And to do it during the day when there's like, the Louvre is one of the most visited Paris is one of the most visited cities in the world for tourists. The Louvre must be close to that. So I'm just thinking national embarrassment needs to be tidied up, and quickly. Heads are going to roll on this one. Heads are going to roll.
Yeah.
Someone's getting fired.
Oh yeah.
George Clooney wouldn't have left the helmet at the side of the crime.
Why George Clooney?
Ocean's 11.
That is true. Sorry. Totally. I was thinking of Lupin. Have you ever watched that on Netflix?
Yeah,
I have not.
That's good.
He also broke into the Louvre and managed to get away with it. So, and never got caught along the way. So yeah, like 31st, easy. Put me down for a yes.
That's a 4x. It's a 4x on that.
I like a good 4x. And also as well, I'm gonna put my ego aside. And I'm not going to wait until the 31st. I'm just going to wait for more evidence to be collected.
You wait for the news that they have a suspect for it to skyrocket to 80 and then nuke into the 80.
Yes, I like the way you think.
What else are you trading on Polymarket Easy?
I hit big on the Bolivian election. I printed on that yesterday. Shout out the Bolivian election. Jorge Tuto Quiroga was the one, right at the top. Robert Paz was the one that ended up winning. He was 57% yesterday morning to win. All the polls that were coming out were showing Jorge Tuto was winning, but it was these like very small, irrelevant areas that he was like getting the nods from, and the major cities had not reported yet. So I was like, oh, okay. Polymarket was still pricing Robert Paz as the favorite at 57%, despite social media basically saying Tuto was going to win. So I took Paz because I was like, he won the major cities before the runoff, which is what's happening today. I don't think they're going to flip in 3 weeks. So ended up hitting on that, which I was quite happy about.
Interesting. So you took the margin of victory?
No, so it's a closed market. So you'd have to, if you search it up there and type in Bolivia.
Yeah. Type in Bolivia. I'm looking at resolved markets.
Yep.
This one. There you go. Perfect.
Yep. Rodrigo Paz.
Oh wow, that's a nice little gainer.
Yeah. So he ended up like dropping pretty hard because Tuto was the one that ended up coming over the top there. Yeah, we have a mention market today. Trump's meeting with the Prime Minister of Australia. So I'm on a bunch of plays on that. I think he's going to say AUKUS, Pacific, and Taiwan. And then I'm no on him saying Joe Biden 4+ times.
AUKUS. What is AUKUS?
So it's the name of the agreement that they have for the Southeast Pacific with Australia. And it's the actual title of what it is they're going to be doing, like discussing. So it's a deal that they have in place, the AUKUS deal.
I like this as a no because I can't picture Trump saying this word. And I feel like he's not going to say it because I just can't.
You think that? But historically, he has said the name of every single agreement that he's had. He said it with Iceland. He said it with Greenland. He said it with when he met with the French Prime Minister. Basically, every agreement they have, he acknowledges it. And the entire focal point of these conversations today are around AUKUS. So whether it's him discussing how they're going to re-sign, re-up, is content with it, there's going to be questions about it. It's like the heavy focal point is this. So for me, I'm like, I really like that. And then I really like Taiwan, even though it's at 41%.
Okay, and with the whole Biden thing, are you just doing that because you don't think he'll mention him by name?
4 is the line usually, like right around that area. So it's like it's very much so a coin flip. If it was 1, I would take the yes. He always mentions him, but at the amount of times that in which he mentions him.
Okay. I like that one. I like the Biden one.
Does he lay off Biden a little bit because of like the health conditions? Maybe.
No. On Friday when he met with Zelensky, he said Biden 14 times.
Okay. So no, that's not even.
And it was all within like 3 sentences. Like he does not give a shit. He and a lot of times it's not Joe Biden, it's the Biden administration is what he'll say.
That makes sense.
So it doesn't have to be just direct name.
There's some juicy lines there. If you like Taiwan at 42, and then
I like Taiwan a lot.
And AUKUS at 63. There's almost 2x's to be made across both those.
Yeah, I like that. I like Pacific at 69 because a lot of the deal has to do with the Pacific Ocean and military involvement in transactions. So I like mention of just the name. Where are you from is one I don't really like, but I don't know enough about that. But yeah, those are just the 4 I'm on. Taiwan, Pacific, AUKUS, all yes. Joe Biden, 4+ times no.
Nice. What time is this?
It starts at noon. These ones are tough because sometimes it's closed press. So then it's just transcripts that'll run. Because since it is a government meeting, they have to release the transcripts, thankfully. But really a lot of times these are usually like really long. They'll take like 4 hours because it's every event that they have today can count. So it's not just one speech, which is why I like the yes more than no's, because there's a lot of room for these things to be said throughout the ongoing daily thing. When he went over to the UK for his events, there was actually a market where the rules outlined that it had to be a specific parts of the events. And he had said one of the words in an event that did not count. So it shot the odds to 99%. And you had multiple hours to buy 1 cent on a market for no. So like the rules are really important for mentioned markets.
Wait, so sorry. So you don't think he's going to say Biden or Biden administration 4 times in the whole day of events?
No, because usually what happens is it'll be one center conversation where he heavily focuses on it. And then he'll go out, and because it's not about like much of this does not have to do with the previous administration because there wasn't much interaction there. There's not a lot of room for him to correlate it. So the situation here is like there won't be many opportunities for him to be like, yeah, comparatively to the Biden administration, just because there wasn't a ton of interaction between the Biden administration and this. I got to grab the door. I'll be right back.
That's good. Yeah, it looks
interesting.
It looks like there's 3 events here that they're listed. So there's a greeting, a bilateral meeting with him at 11:15, and then another one at 11:45. So a couple different scheduled events there. That's part of it, saying it has to be one of these scheduled events. So we'll see how this goes. Top holders on each side. A ton of shares or action on either side. So interesting to see. Love to get Easy's takes on what he's trading on prediction market since he's been so deep into it. Outside of that, we've seen a little bit of a crypto bounce over the last couple of days. Bitcoin is looking nice here, up over 111K this morning. Kind of pull back a little bit here. I'm going to pull up the Bitcoin chart and just take a look. I know we were pretty doom and gloom on Friday, and we were kind of just saying, hey, just be patient in this market. And, you know, this just kind of shows you just the volatility here. Sitting at 110, 600, we were all the way down to, you know, we got down in the 104s on Friday. Sig, how have you felt over this period of market chop that we basically experienced since we've hit new all-time highs?
No, I kind of think it's time for a market chop. Because we've been sort of like up only for quite a while right now, and we're just going through this consolidation period. What I've been the one asset I've been extremely impressed by has been Bitcoin. It's been so resilient and not being able to go under 100K or even be able to sustain that. I know some people there's a bet between Mando and KBM whether Bitcoin will hit 120 or whether it will hit 100. Like for me, it's just like I know it's an interesting bet, but it's the fact that we have stayed above 100 for so long. So even if it does dip slightly, I do think we come back up. I just think this is a market where you just kind of like watch and observe. Have those weekends to touch grass when you can, and then just continuously stay in touch with what's going on and look for opportunities. I think one of the things that I took away from this year was that there were some really interesting opportunities you could have invested in during the bear market, which then came to fruition now during the bull, and everybody was like, how did you get in? And it's like, when did you have to invest to be able to be in it? For example, something like plasma. So I think even though there's some choppiness happening across the majors and alts are bleeding, I still think this is the best time just to like still stay locked in, still like keep up with everything that's going on, because they are going to be interesting opportunities. The fact is, you've got other tokens being released next year. So you've got, for example, OpenSea. I'm pretty sure, what was it? Perp is coming out. I can't remember when he said, but like I heard, sort of end of this year, next year, I think it is. That's not going to be the only tokens that are going to drop. So there's still a lot of liquidity that's going to be coming to the market and interesting plays. And I think for that reason, I'm just going to be staying locked in. Q4 is always the most interesting quarter of the year, for sure, for price action. And this isn't the moment to be like turning off your laptop and walking away.
Yeah, I think that we're seeing a little bit of uncertainty, but like it kind of opens the opportunity for like new runners and new narratives to emerge, like, and that they might have the time to kind of like marinate while all the attention is on these choppy majors like Bitcoin going down, all these liquidations, like new products coming out are going to have like maybe less eyes on them, more room to grow organically. I'm looking over at the Moonbirds announcement. It was October 2nd. They made the announcement and they said coming soon-ish on Solana.
So, and that's another thing. Like you've got the founder of Solana, if it is true that there is a new perp dex coming, but the fact is the founder of Solana is putting his time into a perp dex. Whether or not you think we need another perp dex out there, maybe we don't. But the fact is, if like a founder is putting their time there, it just goes to show that perp dexes are not going away. This is something that is going to be, that has longevity in the space. I think Hype at $39 is still very interesting, and it's definitely proving itself to be one of the players that is probably going to stay ahead of the curve across everything. So like, this is what I mean by, even though the majors might be chopping and sort of crab walking in this period, there's still going to be very interesting products coming out from different chains, different founders, different teams, which is the reason to stay locked in. Whether there's going to be a token easy, obviously that is the only reason why people are using these perp dexes is for potential airdrops. There is no other reason. So there would have to be something there if Percolator, I think that was the name of it, if Percolator wanted to have some volume, and obviously I think that is going to be one of the incentives.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this and I thought it was pretty interesting that he's going this route, like with everybody going perp dexes. Why not encourage other apps to build on as opposed to build it yourself? So we'll see what this ends up looking like. If it is going to be something like technically novel coming from Anatoly, who's been kind of historically at the forefront of Solana. So interesting to see that. Hype, yeah, it feels like we continue to consolidate. Did you see CBB's story about how they made all that money on Hyperliquid? Sig, it's the easy.
I haven't had a chance to dig into the article. I have it saved on my bookmarks. Can you break it down for us? What did he say?
Yeah, so essentially TLDR is they made $5 million since like March of this year, arbitraging hype price essentially on Hypercore and Hyper EVM. So for anyone who's not familiar, Hypercore is what you trade on Hyperliquid. It's separate from Hyper EVM, which is the blockchain they're building that can now talk to Hyperliquid. Block times on Hyper EVM are 2 seconds. So what they were doing, they were looking at the price on Hyperliquid Core, and they're getting this price. This price is continually active. But the fact that the heartbeat on Hyper EVM is every 2 seconds, sometimes the price of Hype on Hyper EVM dexes dislocates from Hypercore. So they were basically buying Hype on EVM when it's cheap, and then selling that position on Hypercore for a higher price, and then kind of moving the money back and forth. And essentially, they were doing this when like it ever got to a certain profit margin. They found that there were competitors who jumped in. Hyperliquid introduced staking to get reduced fees, so they staked something like $2 million worth of Hype to get lower fees and pushed out the competition. Continued to grind and like make improvements to the bot. And then all in all, $5 million of total profit doing this. They did, maybe go to the bottom where we have the total numbers, which are just kind of crazy. $12.5 billion worth of volume on Hyperliquid. They paid $1.2 million worth of gas fees on Hyper EVM. That's 20% of the total Hyper EVM gas fees since launch. So they represented 1/5 of all gas fees on Hyper EVM. And they did 5% of unit volume. They were doing some unit trading as well. And then they also did a lot of this volume on Project X. So they farmed multiple protocols, made money in the process, all through just grinding and figuring out how to find any kind of advantage of the system. So this is a pretty cool story from CBB, who's been one of the bigger farmers in this crypto space, going back to Blur and even previous to that.
Wow. That's incredible. For a guy who last year was like about to quit because of how disappointing Blur was, and then it has come back to do this. This is like an old school arbitrage. I feel like you don't see much of this on the timeline, even when the arbitrage is over. People talking about these kind of plays, extremely smart, and well done to him and his brother. That's all I can say there. Now this is who you're trading against. It's like now on Project X and I'm doing my swaps. I just like, I feel as if like, God damn, I'm just getting like the bottom of the barrel scrapes here. My volume will never, ever, ever come even close to what these two have done. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Like incredible job by the team.
Yeah, agreed. And I think they set out on this mission, basically just trying to farm the airdrop. And they were like happily surprised when they found profit at first, and then they just doubled down to make it as profitable as possible. But it sounds like they basically dedicated every waking hour to this like arbitrage bot and to like making it as good as possible to continue to grind out that $5 million.
Yeah, there's not many people, I think, of that high profile who come up with these kind of arbitrages, which are real ones that come out and declare and say it. But yeah, I don't know. I find it kind of inspirational to be honest. It makes me just want to be like, damn, like when everyone else is looking left, look right and just kind of find your own lane and dominate it. Obviously he's got he's got an advantage because he has like deep pockets and deep capital, deep liquidity. But that is something that I think, anyone who's like in the weeds probably could have found if they were also looking on Hyperliquid. Right. I feel like you're the kind of person who would find that. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. If I was dedicating my time to like really, really diving in, those are the kind of stuff I would find. Easy. I want to talk to you because you called the top, you called the bottom. Where are we at right now?
The markets are moving, Ray.
Markets are moving up and down,
up and down, left to right.
You did call bottom at 104 though, which is impressive on Friday. So
yep, felt good.
Anything that's interesting you in the market outside of prediction markets right now?
Not really. Not really. I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, I just enjoy the prediction market side of things. It doesn't really matter what price does because it's all denominated in stable coins. So it's just, I don't really have to worry too much about it,
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And then you're basically keeping, are you mostly invested when you're doing prediction markets, like in markets? Do you keep like,
it varies.
Do you do the farming, like the 99% farming with your stable stack or anything like that, where it's like, Jesus isn't coming back this year, I'm gonna earn?
No, because I don't like those long tailwind ones. Like they're still far out, so it's like I'd rather not take those. Like I like short-term trades. It's why I think I like mention markets the most.
Yeah, because you have the event and then you get it done with it. It's like that in sports. So like this is most comparable to sports. Yeah,
and they're just fun. Like it's just fun to bet on what they're gonna say and just have like the chaos of like words.
Have you been doing much sports?
Here and there. I sold my Giants position last night at 99 cents. Right before they lost.
Dude, Orangey was absolute cinema on the timeline yesterday.
He was crashing out. It was funny.
It was so funny because I saw this earlier in the day, and like I actually thought of this. I didn't see it. So earlier in the day, he posted something on X like, "Hey, am I gonna keep betting? I'm gonna keep betting thousands of dollars on these 90% win rate football games." He's like, "Is this profitable over time, or am I gonna get Giga comeback rinsed eventually?" And then I saw the Giants game, and I saw that they were up like I don't know 28-0 or something, or like something absurd in the fourth quarter, and the Broncos came back and scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. And I was like, dude, was Orangey on this position? And I think he ended up.
And he sold it.
Yeah. Very smart sell there, getting out of it. But like that was a wild outcome where if he held that through, like that 90% plus position through, he would have just got absolutely completely rinsed. That's the thing with sports, even with mention markets, like you've gotten pretty much knocked out of like some of these things. It's like on the very last question where things can just turn on a dime, even though they are
With like AI and stuff, it's so annoying.
Yep. 100%. Moving back to crypto, we do have a bunch of interesting news on the day. One thing we saw over the weekend is Dankard Feist. I don't know if many people are familiar with him. He was one of the core contributors to Ethereum, a developer over there. He announced that he's leaving Ethereum to go work and develop Tempo, which is Stripe's blockchain. So this is like very interesting. There's a lot of like ETH people who are like in the weeds of the tech that like are very upset about this. He's somebody who's been at the forefront of scaling Ethereum and trying to push scaling as like the main goal. There's like different like Ethereum optimizations that are just named after him because he's developed them. Like Dank sharding is named after him. So this is a big loss for Ethereum, and I think there's some concern in the community that like these privatized blockchains that have all this money to burn are going to start hiring top talent away, and these blockchains aren't necessarily providing revenue back to Ethereum. Even if they settle on Ethereum, like they aren't providing like direct value to the Ethereum token. So a lot of concern here. I don't know if Signal, if you saw this announcement, if you had any thoughts or if you saw any thoughts on this, yeah, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, no, I saw this and I thought it was quite concerning because I think, you know, when you work in a company and it's a very good company and then you see talent leaving, it makes even when you are not that talent, it makes you question, well, why are they leaving? Things they either know something I don't know, or I know what they know and they've got the balls to jump, or it means they're being poached. And essentially, I think what we're starting to see is this sort of like what's happening in AI, actually. So in Meta, they were offering a developer from OpenAI, I believe it was in the early billions, for this engineer to leave OpenAI to go over to Meta. And Meta said, and this engineer said no. They turned down the package. And I think what is happening here is somewhat similar in that you're going to have more and more corporates coming out with their own blockchains, needing talent, which is not easy to find, like experienced blockchain developers with this many years of experience. There isn't that many out there. And I think if there are chains where perhaps something isn't quite right, maybe like for whatever reason, that for whatever reason, the Ethereum Foundation's reputation over the last, say, 18 months has been been taking hits, and then you've got their best engineer jumping ship. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of this happening. And for him, potentially, you know, he hasn't jumped to a competitor. He's such as Solana, Avalanche, etc. He has jumped to a new blockchain which isn't even out yet. And I think that says something more, because this developer is clearly looking to like build and do something from scratch and kind of do what he did at Ethereum in the early days, but not make the same mistakes. And then Stripe has the money to do that. And I think we're going to continue to see this pattern happening, whether it's an investment bank that has decided to, consolidate with other investment banks and bring out a blockchain, or it's an individual corporate entity with deep pockets that want to build their own thing. You're going to continue to see talent jump from existing chains to these new ones.
Yeah, and one more piece of it too is what's going to happen to ETH if everyone's been saying stablecoin on ETH, and you have something like Tempo coming up, you have Plasma, you have Tether, like investing in other stablecoin platforms. Like the stablecoin dominance on ETH and that narrative that's been playing out, like might not happen. Here's a good image by Bread Guy commenting on David Hoffman's article about Dankard heading to Tempo, and basically it's just illustrating like, yeah, like you grow the pie by introducing these big players like Stripe into the picture, but they also want to eat like a large chunk of that pie. So ETH, while like the pie has grown, may end up with the same or a smaller serving than they currently have. So something I'm watching out for. ETH has kind of like shifted narratives over time, and I don't know if like I'm actually pretty confident that the stablecoin narrative isn't going to be like what we're talking about with ETH in 2 to 3 years anyway. So,
what do you mean by that? The stablecoin narrative won't be. Sorry, can you just explain that bit?
So right now, Tom Lee is doing like circuits, and he's saying here's why I'm bullish on ETH. We just had the bill that like made the stablecoin bill in the U.S. and ETH is like the leading market share, and they lead in stablecoin dominance. Like stablecoins are coming to ETH. That's the narrative. That's why you should buy ETH. I think in 3 to 5 years, that's not going to be the case. And you're gonna have stuff like Tempo. You're gonna have dedicated stablecoin blockchains that don't settle on Ethereum that are going to eat the majority of the pie. And I think that the narrative for ETH changes over time.
Yeah, I agree with that statement 100%.
It's changed like a number of times. They can't find an identity. I mean, I guess the identity is just global, decentralized, neutral computer. It is like the only thing that's like kind of like persisted over time. You had ultrasound money at first, and then with the like you're burning it, it's at some point deflationary, but that's not the case anymore. So like they kind of go through these growing pains. I'm just curious to see like what they're going to come out of this with, kind of being like the unifying narrative for Ethereum.
Yeah, I definitely feel like ETH still has Ethereum still has an edge, and and I think the fact that it was passed by the current administration as having one of the 2 ETFs certainly played into helping it thrive and grow and have more and have more of a narrative. But I feel going with what you said, Ray, is just like that edge could very easily go away, and it kind of reminds me of how Ask Jeeves had a moment. Do you remember? It was like, Ask Jeeves, where can I find the nearest restaurant tonight for Italian? And everybody thought that Ask Jeeves was going to be this, incredible search engine. And then boom, Google came along and just like completely ate everybody's lunch. And I just feel like it's almost like a warning to all the blockchains out there that are being built, that the tectonic plates are still shifting, and this game has not ended. And anyone could take Ethereum's pie, especially if the administration continues to pass ETFs from Solana to XRP to like whatever. The fact is that the players are still changing, and just because they're number 2 at the moment doesn't mean that could easily change in a timeline you're saying, Ray, of the next 3 to 5 years. It's not cemented.
Yep, I 100% agree. I just think that, I just have concerns over the narrative with the way that I see things kind of like pushing. I think we're going to see more centralized blockchains. We're going to see less decentralized blockchains. More money is going to be able to hire talent from private companies. So it's going to be a battle for sure to figure out where the future of crypto is going to live. Moving on, we got a launch date for Meteora's MET token. This is going to come out Wednesday. We talked about this on the show last week. I don't know if you were on with us, Sig, when the airdrop checker was launched. And I don't know if you've done a ton of LPing on Meteora. Did you check your wallets for eligibility?
Yeah, I know. I haven't done it. I've done some, but I haven't done a ton. So it was pretty lackluster, to be honest. I think Easy probably has a much bigger bag than me. Easy, how did you do on the Met checker?
I did well, about 40,000 tokens.
Yeah, I didn't have that 40,000 tokens.
Trading at $1 a piece right now on pre-markets. We bounced off a little bit of a bottom here. Where do you think this launches? Right around here?
Probably. It probably sells down to like 60 cents.
Yeah, so the pool is opening up on Meteora for people who opt in at an initial price of $500 million. If you opt in your airdrop, it gets matched with USDC, and then you earn fees on initial volume. So it's a game of like, how much volume is there going to be? What's price going to settle at, to figure out if you're going to be better off just taking the airdrop in tokens, or to earn fees as the price moves. So this is one to watch for on Wednesday. We'll cover it more on Thursday. I'm screwing up my dates. The 23rd would be Thursday. This is the 20th today. Thank you for the correction there, Oxy, in the comments.
Easy, yep. What are you doing? Did you take the LPing option out to DCA
I
out?
LP'd it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I'm like, the initial fees day one are usually what you want to try to capture, and I don't mind letting it sit. So I'm like, let's just see where it goes.
We had some more, I want to say FUD or shakiness around Hyperliquid. Looking at total volume for perps on the day, we had lighter pass Hyperliquid and perp volume over the last 24 hours by almost a 50% margin. So Aster sitting at 14.7 bill, lighter at 7.7, Hyperliquid at 5 billion. Is this part of this because CBB pulled away and pulled out of Hyperliquid? Like, is the fact that he's gone now like going to have like a meaningful effect on Hyperliquid price and the narrative there? Like, I don't know. We're seeing this movement. I mean, you can explain it multiple ways. You can say, okay, Hyperliquid in 3, Aster in 1. They're basically farming their own volume. It's Binance criming it. You can say lighter in 2. Okay, well, they haven't had their airdrop yet. People are still trying to farm that over Hyperliquid. Once the airdrops and all things are equal, Hyperliquid gets the volume back. But I'm a little bit concerned here. Any concerns here? Easy over Hyperliquid entering or just finding more and more competition over time?
Not really. I mean, competition is bullish usually. Like for me, I think it's not a bad thing. CVB was driving a lot of volume, sure, but he's not the only person using the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think in general, hype's going to be fine. I think it's in a good place, and I think that just means it's going to continue to move. I still use it. I still think it's better.
Any price target on hype if you're holding
short term like 45, long term still 150. Give me 100 on a bad day.
Somewhere between 45 and 100 on hype. Yeah, I mean, it's looking good last couple of days. We had a pretty green weekend. So we'll see if we can break out of this downtrend that we've kind of been in since we hit all-time highs. I don't even know if Clemente danced this time, but probably did on the 16th. But yeah, we had a pretty massive drop-off. That was basically where Aster launched and maybe a repricing. That they're not the only shop in town. Sig, what are your thoughts here? Are you holding any hype? Are you comfy? Are you not comfy?
I've got hype. Yeah, I've got hype. I'm just my whole thesis on not doing perp dex volume and trading. I was actually really happy because Cobie came out with that tweet. No, with a tweet like recently. Or it could be the same one I'm thinking of. Anyway, what he said was he basically doesn't do perp trading. And I was like, oh, like really good to see like one of the smartest people in the space is also not doing it. Because sometimes I feel like there's so much pressure to be doing it. And I've just really stayed away from it, just like dabbling a little bit here and there. But I still think Hyperliquid is an amazing product. I think Binance, yes, they have Aster, and that is something that I still hold. I think that will continue to be one of the competitors to look at in the space. Very interested to see what Solana will come out with. But I think going forward now, aside from the narrative between Hyperliquid versus Binance, I'm really interested to see like who has really got the best product out there over the next 12 months. Because I don't think, because the same capital that is doing perp dexes is the same capital that was doing meme coin trading. And so it's moved over to perp dex, and let's just see if it stays there, or does it, sort of like get bored and then start going over to prediction markets. And so I think now for the next 6 months, there's going to be this battle between perp dex farming and prediction markets. I'm going to be on the prediction market side just simply because I don't like perp trading volume. But I think that this will be the two strongest narratives going forward into 2026.
I agree. I'm on a number of prediction market plays, looking not so good over the weekend. I think that portfolio is down more so than the rest, even though it held up better during the crashes. I started feeling some fear creep in that it's like maybe we're right on these, but maybe it's too early. I think a lot of this is like predicated on both macro and predicated on prediction markets launching tokens. So if Polymarket doesn't launch a token until Q1 2026, a lot of these products right now that are very speculative and early stage may not pump as hard if they can't find legs to get to where that Polymarket token launches. So that's interesting. We are seeing prediction market volume go through the roof, though. I think I saw a post today saying we've eclipsed 2024 election levels in terms of total prediction market volume, which is interesting. You also talked a bit about Cobie there, and this is a complete tangent and detour, but I wanted to share the tweet about Nick that he had with the all the drama with Nick, because this is just like an A plus post here. He says, the reason I am now a large fan of Nick is because his entire bit only works because he looks a bit like a creature from the David Bowie movie Labyrinth, or perhaps from The Dark Crystal. He is so curious looking that it transcends unattractive and becomes almost science fiction. His face unsettles you, and most of humanity has the same reaction to it. I deeply appreciate that someone is able to know this and commit to exploiting it for internet jokes. Would not work at all if he looked like a human being. Don't get it. Didn't get it for a while. Found the trolling a bit bland or obvious, but watching him breach containment into normie Twitter a few times has made me a big fan of his art. Think about it. If anyone else made these videos, it would be so obvious to the world that he's trolling, but people are generally confused by his face. It disarms them, and their ability to comprehend reality is compromised enough, just momentarily, for them to fall for the bait. Actually, I think we are seeing a true one-of-one talent at work, likely the best to ever do it, and the best there ever will be. That is an absurd review coming from Cobie. I saw that over the weekend. That made me smile. It was just a funny take on Nick going viral and everything that happened there. It was just it's just awesome.
I honestly one of the things that really surprised me was how attractive the girl is. I just couldn't believe it was the same person. Like when she got her X account, and then I looked at the photo. I don't know who took that. I don't know who took that photo, but it was not an Instagram husband. It was somebody who's not been trained. And then I saw her and I was like, God blimey, she's really attractive. That's why she was hired to do the skit. But then, and then she kind of fell off a clip after that. But it has been so much fun to see him exist outside of crypto Twitter, and to get that 5-star review from Cobie comparing him to like a David Bowie labyrinth creature. He's like the best way, I'm pretty sure Cobie is like British, so it's the best way a British person could give a compliment without giving a compliment.
Yeah, it's like backhanded compliments across
exactly
down the line. They were all in a Twitter space last night. I randomly tuned into a Twitter space, and it's like, oh, she's speaking, Nick's speaking, Pio's speaking. Nick last night sang The Little Mermaid with her on a Twitter space. That's how wild the situation got.
It's been very, very funny to watch, and also it's been amazing to see all of crypto Twitter come out and support him in such a fun way. I missed that space. I'm just hoping there's a recording so I can hear Nick singing the Little Mermaid theater style with her.
Yeah, I'm ready for the movie. I'm actually ready for them to get back together and then have their relationship part come in.
I just love how a fake girlfriend is causing him as much headache as a real girlfriend would. It's like, I think it's him. I think it's Nick's karma that is just bringing that all together. I never knew a fake girlfriend could be this much of a headache.
I don't think it's a headache at all. I think Nick loves it. I think that he is absolutely leaned in. The video that he released, I think it's super underappreciated. The video he released on his balcony talking about the breakup at night, that is just that video is just perfect, because it works on all the levels, the fact that it's real, the fact that it's fake, what's going on, who knows what's happening. And that was just such a very good video. Overall, I was a big fan of that one. And yeah, he's been crushing it this week. Sorry for the detour, but I feel like we had to talk about that. And Cobie seemed as good of a interloper transition as we could get. Back to crypto. Taking a look over at what's happened over the last 24 hours over the weekend. Michael Saylor came in with a very small buy today, $18 million worth of Bitcoin. Continuing to basically just hold tight as Bitcoin ranges. We talked about treasuries last week. I don't know, there's much to unpack additionally there. We also had Hyperliquid's founder, Jeff, come out on the timeline and basically say that their auto deleveraging program ended up making users hundreds of millions in dollars by closing their short positions rather than allowing them to keep them open. This was an interesting one. And I don't know if it's necessarily true or like how people are going to react to it. But I think what's interesting is like I lean towards like this is like kind of true. I feel like degens who are watching the market implode and holding these short positions are going to get greedy, and then they would have been basically round tripped these positions as opposed to being forced closed out at profitable positions and then completely out of the trades. He makes a point saying like, hey, they weren't auto deleveraged. The HLP would have backstopped everything. It would have taken on more risk, and it would have made much more money had they not had the ADL turned on. As somebody who trades perps like regularly, easy, and I don't know if you've ever been like auto deleveraged before, but like, do you buy this explanation coming from Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been auto deleveraged, but I believe it. Like, it makes sense. Yeah, it's not like unsurprising. Like, that's the thing that I look at. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. It's part of the game, part of the system, part of the process. So if you've been auto deleveraged, it happens. It sucks. It's not fun, but it's to help kind of protect them. Like, I wish they auto deleveraged the whole thing that happened with Jelly, if you remember that. It was kind of like what they ultimately did in order to end up being in the profit.
Right, because if you remember that one, the HLP vault took all of that risk on
Yeah.
when that thing ran, and then people were like, "Oh
Yep.
no, the HLP vault flipped negative," and then would they like adjusted the Oracle, like manually adjusted the Oracle price or something to like sell it at a different price. It was like
Yeah.
something pretty crazy that happened there. Yeah, so auto deleveraging would have made that whole thing basically blow over with minor issue. And it could have, I mean, it could have done the same thing. Could have been a bigger issue during the crash if they didn't have auto deleverage for.
Yeah, like it could have just been a dumpster fire for him, but it ended up being safe. It sucks, part of the game, but life goes on.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think that's the last topic we have.
That's gonna do it. We're back tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Make some cash. Win. Keep winning. And never get tired of